Welcome to Lifing 101, a journey through life's experiences, challenges, and interpretations. An intriguing and soul-refining podcast that explores the countless twists of life. Get ready to be amused, enlightened, entertained, empowered, and inspired. Hosted by Tina C. Christian, your MC with the LPC, and guest co-host Lorenda McKinney, your MC with the PhD.
Welcome, lovely listeners, to an exciting episode of Lifing 101 podcast,
where we dive into life's little mysteries and offer you insights to help you lead a happier, more fulfilling life.
I'm your MC with the LPC, Tina C. Christian, navigating y'all through this journey up and down and all around on this emotional roller coaster we call life.
And I'm your MC with the PhD, Lorenda McKinney. So grab your favorite beverage, find a comfortable spot, sit back and relax while we embark on this restorative journey together.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening out there. Welcome to the Toxic Free 2024 series. And today we're talking about
toxic male friends. Toxic male friendships.
Hey, fellas, are you with me? Oh, yeah, we talking stuff. We ain't going nowhere. Where y'all at, fellas? So, bros, bro-codes and bromances, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about those fellow relationships. And men, I don't know, you guys, your relationships seem a lot different than women to me. But I am a woman, so I'm an outsider looking in. But it seems like your friendships are a little less, emotional to me.
Yeah, they are. I think they're less judgmental and less emotional. And the reason why I say that is I always think that when girls are going to be with their significant other or whatever, they may get some backlash from all their friends and everything. Oh, you always do that or whatever. But I don't know if you guys do that. I don't know if you guys, when your boy go, it's time for me to go home. If you just like, yeah, go home. Or if you like, oh man, you can give us 5 more hours. Like, I don't know if you guys are that way, because sometimes the peer pressure from friends, and I know you think that it's an age thing to have peer pressure, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. People can be peer pressured at any age.
Right. And speaking of peer pressure and wondering if that is occurring, that would be a toxic trait for a male friendship or in a relationship with your friends. So, for instance, they're always trying to influence you to do things that aren't, what's the word?
It's not really part of your character. They know that that's not something that you would generally do.
Right. And or trying to sabotage your relationship.
Yes.
That's kind of what I was trying to get to. Like they're maybe doing things to try to get you to be around them or to be with them when you really should be with your significant other, or trying to make you choose whether you're going to be with them or whether you're going to be with your significant other. So when you think about some toxic type of traits in male friendships, from what we know as women, what would you think are some traits that the fellas should look for in their friends?
Just like any friendship or relationship, I probably would say unreliable, or you can't depend on them. You're constantly doing things for them, but you're never able to get those things in return.
Right. And speaking of unreliable, you have a lot of people that you fellas, you maybe have some users on your team. Yeah. Maybe they only come around when they need something, or when you can do something for them, or when something's going on good that they can be a part of. So I know, again, I think men are different, a little different than women emotionally, so it may show up and look a little different than female relationships. But pay attention to those fellas or bros that are only around when you're partying or something, but they're not there when you're going through something. Or if you can't call them for something, like, man, let me get $5, and man, can you come help me fix my flat or something? If they're not there, then they're probably going to be a toxic friendship. So like using you only for what they can benefit and what they can get out of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, those are your fun friends. They only around when things are up.
Times.
Yeah, but the minute things get serious, the minute things get serious, you can't find them.
So, and that just means they're not trustworthy.
Yeah.
So if you have some friends that aren't trustworthy, you can't call on them. They're not reliable. They don't show up. They don't follow through, or they lie and tell you they're going to do something and they don't do it, so they're dishonest? Or what's some other things you can think of that fellas can take a look at to see if they're dealing with some toxic bros?
Probably the friends that never apologize. They just kind of mosey over it. Like you have some words, and they're not friendship ending words, but they are kind of important to discuss. And next thing you see them, they like, yeah, man, come meet me such and such. And it never comes back up.
Right.
But it's their way of not having to apologize, or they might minimize the incident and just be like, oh, you really want an apology for that?
Right.
But if it bothered me, then it's a problem, and I just want to kind of square it away. Otherwise, it's just going to be like the elephant in the room where you constantly have it in the back of your mind. And eventually the friendship may end.
Yeah.
But I think most importantly, like Tina said, we're just assuming these things maybe from either families that we've seen our cousins and brothers interact with their friends, or maybe our significant others seeing them interact with their friends, or maybe hearing it from our significant others because they feel more comfortable telling you than addressing it with the friend.
Right, exactly. Now, mind you, I've dealt with a lot of men in my career. However, I never dealt with men coming in to talk about problems with their male friends.
Right.
I never had a client like that.
Yeah.
Now, they may come in and talk about dealing with female problems or their relationships, or having a friend with, having a relationship as a friend with a woman, and then maybe their woman has a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I've never had a guy come in and say, hey, I'm dealing with something with my bros, and, he ain't right. No, I've never heard that. So I don't have that in my pocket to deal with.
Yeah, I don't really think that they discuss it. I think that they just deal with it. And then sometimes the reason why their relationships last so long is because they don't address things. That doesn't make it healthy. That just means that you overlook a lot of things, and that's not necessarily good either.
Correct. So, fellas, some other things that we can think of in regarding to dealing with toxic male friends and what that may look like is someone trying to maybe guilt trip you, like about, say, for instance, well, anything, first of all, but to give you an example, like, you got to go do something with your girl, so you got to leave, and they, oh, man, you this, you that, or you henpicked, or, man, you won't never hang out with us, or something like that. That's kind of a toxic behavior because, again, as we've stated before, in any of these toxic series traits, that we've been explaining to you guys, anybody that cares about you and your relationship with them and with others, they would want the best for you. Yeah. They're not going to try to sabotage any of your relationships, whether it's with them or someone else. So if they're guilt tripping you about what you're doing with your other friends or what you're doing with your wife or spouse or then they may be a toxic friend, and that may be a toxic relationship. So again, we've touched on never apologizing, guilt tripping you, not being trustworthy, not following through, being unreliable, and just coming around wanting to be the fun guy and hang out when things are good, and never being there to support you through the bad times. You can't call on them. You literally can't pick up the phone and say, hey man, I need your help, because they're not there. They're not going to show up for you. So what are some other things that you think we can kind of touch on for them that may help them identify a toxic male friendship?
I would say, kind of going back to the not trustworthy, I always say, would you trust that person with your life? Would you trust them to do the right thing? If you couldn't make it home to pick your kids up, would you trust reaching out to them to pick your kids up? And would you trust your kid being safe? And would you trust them completing the task? If they had to pick up your wife or girlfriend because you couldn't make it, would you be nervous about that and uncomfortable about it? Or would you be comfortable about it because you know where y'all stand? So the trustworthy thing really goes a long way. And I probably think out of everything, that's probably the biggest thing in male friendships. And then the ending of it, it could be a lot more devastating when male friends stop talking. Like things could get really bad where they don't get that way. With women, we usually just stop talking. But with males, it may get physical and it may get really bad. So that's why I say it's kind of bad when it doesn't get vented and aired out, because you may do it one last time and that may be the time that they can't take it anymore and it goes all the way left. So I think it is important definitely to talk about it because everybody should know how to communicate. And if they're your friends, you should be able to discuss it and go right back to being friends.
Exactly. Some of the other, there's only a few other that I really want to touch on and that I'm thinking of. For instance, like putting you down. Because I know that's something that I've seen within male groups. Like they they act like they're playing and or joking, but it's at your expense. You're like at the butt of their jokes, and they're constantly putting you down, making comments about you, but then it's like, oh, they're acting like they're playing or joking, but they're targeting you more than just once or twice or here or there. If they're putting you down, whether it's in a comedic way or whatever, it's probably a toxic behavior, because friends don't put friends down, they lift friends up.
Right. And are they waiting to do it when you guys get around somebody so that they can put on a whole little skit, you know, or they wait until you get around and then everybody gets to laugh at you? Like, what does that feel like? Because I'm telling you, if somebody's supposed to be your friend, it's no way you feel good every time you're around that person. You're the joke.
Right. I mean, whether it's supposed to be comical or not, you should not be the butt of somebody's joke all the time. And again, we're not talking about once or twice. I'm talking about, you know, these things that we're speaking of in regarding to toxic traits. When we say toxic traits mean consistency.
Yeah, repeated behaviors over and over again.
So if it's just, I think of one time when that may not be toxic. However, if you can think of multiple times when you was the butt of their joke, or they're always saying little things to make you feel bad, or they're attacking your self-esteem, making you feel bad about yourself, then that's what I'm talking about. Another thing, and it kind of goes with that, if you start feeling like this sense of dread when they come around, or you don't want to spend time with them. So maybe you have a set of friends that you're in a group with, and you guys hang out, and then you hear that this particular friend is coming, and now all of a sudden you don't really want to go. If you're feeling that sense of dread, then more than likely that may be a toxic male friend that you have. Yeah,
and it's at the time you use your significant other and go, say I can't go. Tell them we got something else to do. Right. Because you just don't want to be the person to say, I don't really care for them when they're around.
Yeah.
But if your other friends are paying close attention, they should be able to notice every time this person's around, he doesn't want to come around.
Right. So are you that toxic friend, or do you know that toxic friend? So
or are you allowing the toxic friends to continue to be that way because it's better to have them around than not have nobody around?
Exactly. So, you know, we really wanted to get the male perspective on this, and we actually asked a handful of male to kind of elaborate, because we did want to get a male point of view, because we are women.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any of that in my pocket for reference, other than what I've kind of seen in friendships around me with other men. So here's our one caller that we did have.
Hey, ladies. Just wanted to get my feedback on toxic friendships with men. You know, sometimes I feel that your friends can influence your romantic relationship. We as men, sometimes we aren't truthful enough to talk to each other and just say our true feelings about a woman. We'll just be like, yo, man, you know, that's just my chick, or something like that. And even when you're married with our wives, we kind of just laugh it off and be like, you know how women are and different things like that. And we never actually open up about our true feelings to each other. So therefore, I think, because nobody wants to look at the other as being soft or whatever the case may be, because, you know, especially as black men, we were brought up, you know, you don't share. You keep your stuff to yourself. You don't be all sensitive and things like that. And, you know, some of the toxic things that traits that men have in friendships, I think that I don't necessarily think we have toxic traits. I think that most men just have, like I said a little bit earlier ago, the tendency to just not feel open enough to share. And I think that we haven't learned the ability to be able to communicate with one another. I feel that some of the biggest problems as men is that we want to internalize everything. And most of us, we will get together and have a drink. We will get together and smoke. We'll get together and watch the games. But we will never get together and just talk. Like, man, what are you dealing with? What's your struggles? You know, and just hold each other accountable. And I think that's probably one of the biggest problems with men relationship. Most of us aren't able to hold each other accountable because we don't communicate enough with each other to even know what the other is dealing with. Is it bros before hoes? Well, in my opinion, when you look at the actual phrase bros before hoes, I would say, yeah, it is bros before hoes, because if you're my brother, I'm going to always put you before just again, a hoe. And when I think of a hoe, I think of just some kind of random chick. But on the other side, if you're talking about just, hey, put any guy before the hoe, then no, not necessarily. I think it just depends on the situation. And have I ever had to end a romantic relationship because of the bro code? Honestly, no, I haven't.
Okay, so we also had one other response via text. So to the first question, do you feel that your friends influence your romantic relationships? If so, why? The response was yes and no. I feel like they have a small influence in clarifying some of my opinions in case I'm seeing things from a distorted view. And then on question 2, what do you feel like are some toxic traits that men have in relationships? For example, they can't be trusted. They're users. They guilt trip you, compete with you, or try to one-up you, put you down, or make fun of you, etc. And their response was, I think we have too many toxic traits. All of those are good examples. And then we try to make it seem like we're good men or try to do better. We're not the same. But in all actuality, we choose to act right when we want. But I also think that women do the same. It's a manipulation tactic toxic people use. Question 3, is it bros before hoes for you? Their response, when I was younger, it was bros before hoes. Now I'm more mature. My woman, my relationship, and happiness at home comes first, and mature friends understand. Question 4, have you had to end romantic relationships because of the bro code? Their response, I've never had to end a romantic relationship because of the bro code, but I would if I felt it was necessary. Thank you to our caller and to the person that texts. We will let you remain anonymous for the bro code. So if you're listening, and if you're one of our lovely listeners and you'd love to assist us in this journey to understand toxic male relationships, answer some of these questions first. Feel free to call and leave a message on our voicemail, 816-607-1243. That's 816-607-1243. Or you can always leave us a comment on any of our podcast platforms, or even go to our website, lifing101pod.com, and leave a comment on any of the episodes there. Some of the questions that I wanted to know, or that we wanted to know, is that, do you feel that friends influence your romantic relationship? And if so, how? So do you feel like your bros, if they influence your romantic relationship, call us, email us, text us, something, tell us what you feel in regarding to that. Do your male friends influence your romantic relationship?
Right. Do you, if they were to tell you not to date someone, would you really take it to heart or constantly be in the back of your mind while you're dating a person?
Right. Something else that we wanted to know is, what do you feel like are some of the toxic traits that men may have in friendships? For example, they can't be trusted. They're users. They guilt trip you. They're competing with you. They're always trying to one-up you. They put you down or make fun of you. What are some of the traits that you've experienced and or witnessed, or that you're aware of in male friendships or relationships? Because again, we're women.
Yeah.
And we want to know, and we want to share it with our listeners, because I'm sure they want to hear as well. We're trying to give you the information that we have. And I feel like the information we've shared is very helpful and knowledgeable, but I would like to know and learn more myself, as well as share with our others listeners.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing us today, please share with us on our voicemail, email, podcast platforms, wherever you have listened and or you're aware of, even on social media. So the third question we have is it bros before hoes for you? I mean, really, some people really do live by that bro code. So what is that bro code? I mean, if you have that information too, give it to us.
If you're allowed, because we don't want you to be booted out by sharing the information.
Anonymously. Now, but give us some of those bro codes that you want to share with the listeners about what they shouldn't do or whatever. But again, is it bros before hoes? And is that toxic, expecting your bros to put you before their female? So, and then, explain that to me, because we could be just saying that we're rhyming bros before hoes. Are you really talking about hoes, or are you really talking about females in general?
Exactly.
Because I've wanted to know. I don't know. I'm not a man.
Exactly.
So is it bro before any women, even their other, their significant other or their wife or spouse? Or is it just like somebody you messing with, or somebody just
that don't really mean a lot?
Let me know what that means. Chime in, y'all. And lastly, we want to know, have you had to end a relationship because of the bro code? Have you, and if so, Why?
Yeah.
What about the bro code made you have to end your relationship? Because I'm curious about this.
Yeah,
bro code.
was some boundaries disrespected? Like, did somebody do something that you just don't do?
Correct. Yeah, we're nosy now.
Yeah.
We're getting all up in y'all business.
Yeah, we really do want to know. Yeah, we really want to know. Like, we wanted to cover this because it is a thing.
Yeah.
So we want to address it, but at the same time, we wanted your input so that you guys are just not listening to us like, how would they know? You're right.
Correct.
So we just taking secondhand information because we're taking the information we have seen or heard. But we would love to hear from you guys so that we have the firsthand information.
Yeah. And to all of the people that we did reach out to, you still got time to call us. I mean, I know life is lifing. We know that better than anybody. But anyway, give us a call. Leave us a message. Leave us a text. You can even text to that phone number.
Yeah.
We do accept text. If you don't want to talk online or be heard on the podcast, then by all means, just text us your answers or leave a comment. And if you don't want to be known, because maybe you don't want to know somebody know you done gave up the bro code.
We won't expose you. We promise.
Just
we will not expose you.
Just text it to us. They can't see you that way. So
send us a video of somebody doing it.
Oh, we getting real nosy now. And I'm like, Cleo, call me now.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yes. But no, for real, seriously, we would love to know.
Yes.
So if I've sent you that information and asked or requested those, you still have time to share with me and or the lovely listeners, because we can always share it later and follow up on that. So don't feel like, darn, I forgot, or feel like, darn, I got out
we'll
of it.
still take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
gonna
still
share
take it.
We want it. Yeah. We want to help.
Yeah, and just like all the topics we've covered, it's not to cause friction between relationships. No. It's just to make sure that you're in healthy relationships. And if it was in the back of your mind and you kind of just needed to know if it's what you thought it was, you know?
Right. We just want you to be mindful. Let's think about mindfulness. Be mindful of your behaviors and or the people that are around you and how they're treating you. And if you're in healthy or unhealthy relationships, because again, we should be in a time of healing. That's what we're about. We're trying to give some education and or information to help you grow and succeed in life and to create some healthy relationships in your life. But again, as we always say, definitely seek out professional assistance and or supports if you feel like you're in a situation that warrants you to do so. Because even though we're giving some good information here, this is at the end of the day for educational purposes. Even though I am a mental health therapist, I am not a practicing one at this time, and I'm only licensed in the state of Missouri. So I'm not out here giving you guys therapy and or therapeutic information. I'm just giving you knowledge and information for educational purposes that I'm aware of to educate you and entertain you. However, you will need to seek out your own professional assistance and or help from a professional either in your state and or where you're located at.
Right.
So, yeah.
And we don't want everybody to be out causing friction tomorrow with all their homies. So we don't want that. But the important thing about having a healthy relationships is because those relationships, they do affect your other relationships. So if one is unhealthy, you may tend to be unhealthy dealing with somebody else because of that unhealthy one. So
it can bleed over into other relationships. So, but I'm hoping that again, if there are men that are listening and you want to share, please do. If you want to share anonymously and you don't want people to know or think that, because hell, for all I know, that could be against the bro code, and maybe that's why nobody's.
Yeah, maybe it's like the book when Steve Harvey wrote that book. Like a man, everybody was upset.
Yeah, so then I like, all right, we'll help. And they're like, do she know she just asked me to break the bro code? Well, no, I didn't know. So, but anyway, if you hear this or if you know that I sent that to you or someone else sent it to you on our behalf, please share your input with us, your feedback. We want to know.
We do want to know.
And even if you don't want to be on Lifing 101 podcast, you can definitely email or text it to us or something. And if you want to remain anonymous, you can say that and we will keep it. So you can keep your stars in the bro group. Can't be losing your stripes and stuff.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We're not here for that.
No, we're not. So anyway, I hope you found this episode to be entertaining and or educational as it is intended.
In honor of Black History February, because all the months are Black History. So in honor of Black History February, I'm just going to give you a little gem, just something for you to take along with you, along with the pot of soul that we've already done. This one is by Bayard Rustin. We are all one. And if we don't know it, we'll learn it the hard way.
Until next time, people, stay hopeful
and stay curious.
Before we part ways, we invite you to share your own stories, thoughts, and reflections with us. Connect with us on social media, reach out through our website, or simply leave a comment on your preferred podcast platform. Feel free to leave us in voicemail at 816-607-1243 with any thoughts, concerns, or questions that you'd like shared on Lifing 101 or just answered or addressed. If you prefer to send us an email, feel free to do so by sending it to our website, lifing101pod.com, or send us an email to info@lifing101pod.com. Your insights and experiences enrich our shared understanding of this incredible journey we're all a part of. Please subscribe to this podcast and follow our website, lifing101pod.com, and find and follow us on your favorite social media platforms. Stay hopeful, stay curious, and keep embracing the vibrant, unpredictable, and awe-inspiring journey that we call life. Goodbye for now, and may your days be filled with endless wonder.